Well, hello again. It's Miss Karen again. So we read the Jack and the Beanstalk fairy tale, right, already. And when we finished, I think we were talking a little bit about that we're not sure if Jack did the right thing, but it is a fairy tale, and certain things happen in fairy tales that may not happen in real life. And as readers, we are allowed to have opinions. We get to say what we think about the story and whether we would have done what Jack did or not. But when we think about this story, Jack and the Beanstalk, we know that the main character was Jack, and it is basically Jack's story from his point of view, what he was thinking, what he was doing, okay? But I was thinking, wouldn't it be interesting to get the story from someone else's side? You know, there's a lot of sides to a story. There's my side to the story, there's your side to the story, right? In the Jack and the Beanstalk, the characters are Jack, Mom, the giant's wife, and the giant, right? Well, there's also the hen and the harp. But, so I was thinking, I wonder what the giant would say about this fairy tale. So somebody was thinking that too. An author was reading the fairy tale, Jack and the Beanstalk, and I think they thought, what? Let me tell this story from a different point of view. So here we are. There's the giant, and there's Jack, and the gold and the stuff that he took. So this story is called, Trust Me, Jack's Beanstalk Stinks. The story of Jack and the Beanstalk as told by the giant, the magical mythical creature that's in the story, right? So this story was actually written, because it's a different version of the story, by Eric Braun and illustrated by Christian Bernardini, okay? So let's find out what the giant thought about this story, okay? There he is. People think it's easy being a giant. You get to be rotten, grumpy, and loud. You're big and tough. You got lots of treasure and gold. And nobody ever tells you to behave. Would you tell a giant to behave? Giant life is no picnic, though. It's hard to find shoes that fit my giant feet. My knees hurt from the weight of my huge body, and I'm always hungry. Always. But the worst thing about being a giant? Humans. Humans are part of a balanced giant breakfast. But when you're not eating them, they could be a real pain. Sometimes they laugh at me behind my back. They call me stinky and chubby. They ring my doorbell and they run away. Ha ha ha. Real funny. So, this boy named Jack, he was extra brave and bold. He came up through the clouds one day while I was out gathering a small breakfast. What is he eating for breakfast? A bunch of cows? He tricked my wife into feeding him, then he hid inside my house. I mean, come on. Would he hide inside a human's house? That's against the law. Well, he didn't trick me. I could smell him, and he smelled delicious. My wife said, maybe you still smell that kitty casserole from supper last night. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I said. In giant, that means something like, go home now, I promise I won't eat you. But he stayed in that hiding place, the little rat. After breakfast, I took a nap, of course, like I always do. Eating makes me tired. And when I did, Jack stole my bag of gold. Humans, nutritious and sneaky. Sometime later, Jack came back again, and again he tricked my wife into letting him in the house. When I came home from picking up a light breakfast, I could smell him and I knew who it was. My wife said, maybe you still smell the little dude stew from supper last night. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I yelled. This can also mean, give me back my gold and we'll call it even. I definitely won't eat you. But he didn't come out. So the giant is giving him all these chances, right? Do you believe the giant? Do you think the giant would eat Jack anyway? Just like before, I ate my meal and I tried to forget all about Jack. I relaxed with my goose, the one that lays the golden eggs. Hey, in the other story it was a hen. Well, they're both birds, right? Soon I took a little snooze. Of course, that pesky boy couldn't let a guy rest. Do you know what he did? Do you remember what Jack did when he saw the hen? He stole my goose, the lousy, no good, miserable thief. The last time Jack came around, I called out as usual, fee, fi, fo, fum. This can even mean, darn it, I'm really angry now. My wife and I searched, but we couldn't find him. I kept looking, but then I got hungry. Big surprise, right? After breakfast, I enjoyed some lovely music. Do you hear the music? Did you hear it? That was the magical harp playing. My golden harp sang to me, and the sound was even sweeter than boyberry pie. I rested my eyes for a bit. I'd finally forgotten all about that little pesky Jack. What's Jack gonna do? Do you remember? The next thing I know, my harp is calling, Master, Master! Jack was running off with it, and I thundered after him. I almost caught up to them too, but they disappeared into the clouds. And there it was, a big beanstalk. Jack was climbing it. Down, 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 to get away from me. Well, I'm a smart guy. I know a dangerous thing when I see it. I didn't want to go down there, no way. But then my harp called out again. Help me, master, help me. So down I went, down, down, down. That stalk was wobbly, but I kept going. The beanstalk shook once. The beanstalk shook twice, and then bam, it toppled over. Jack had chopped it right down with an axe. I fell and I broke my crown. That means his head. That's an old-fashioned way of saying I whacked my head really good. Even if you're a big, tough giant, that still hurts. Aw, look at the bump he got on his head. My wife and I should just forget about Jack. But sometimes I still look through the hole in the clouds. Jack and his mother got rich selling my golden eggs. They fattened up nicely, and Jack got married. My golden harp sang at the wedding, and it really was a lovely party. I'll tell you one thing, sometimes my crown feels better. I'm gonna go there and get my stuff back. When I'm feeling all better, I'm going back down. Maybe I'll grab some lunch while I'm there, too. Think about it. Let's see. That was two different versions of Jack and the Beanstalk. The traditional fairy tale that I read you earlier, and this new version from the giant's point of view. Makes you think a little bit, right? First we thought, wow, poor Jack, they didn't have anything to eat, and then he got these beans, and his mother got mad, and then he was really brave, and he met the giant, but he was able to trick him and then live happily ever after. And we thought, well, that's good for Jack, but what about the giant, right? Now we got the giant side of the story, Do you understand? Maybe the giant wasn't very happy. He wasn't bothering anybody. He was up in the clouds. He was eating some cows, he's a big guy. He's hungry, you know. So now we can understand that maybe it wasn't really fair for him to do that. I mean, the giant was happy to see that Jack was happy and he got married and they have everything they need. But he said that when his crown feels better, he might go back down there. And that's another part of the story that we can write in our heads. What do you think would happen if the giant goes down to see Jack instead of Jack coming up to the giant? But you know what? During the story, every time he said fee, fi, fo, fum, he told us what it really meant. And he kind of said, just go away and I won't bother you. Do you believe the giant? Do you think he would have gobbled Jack up anyway? What do you think?